Throughout sports, dynasties are something special to see. Hated at the time, but looked back on and remembered fondly for their greatness. Dynasties are created by a single, pair, or group of individuals that set records and make the impossible possible. The Patriots from the 2000s and 2010s with their 6 Super Bowls, the Chicago Bulls of the 1990s with their 6 titles, and the Montreal Canadiens with their stranglehold of the Stanley Cup throughout the 1950s till the 1970s. NASCAR is no different, and they have their sets of dynasties. Richard Petty and Dale Inman through the 60s and 70s, Dale Earnhardt and Kirk Shelmerdine in the late 80s and early 90s, and Jeff Gordon and Ray Evernham in the mid to late 90s. All these driver crew chief combos are dynasties in their own right, but there is one combo that was so dominant, no matter the car or points format, they always found a way to win. A dynasty that almost never was created, Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. To see how these Hall of Famers became who they are, we gotta see their history. Let's start with the driver, Jimmy Johnson. After Jimmy grew up winning championships on dirt bikes and off-road trucks, Jimmy turned his attention to stock car racing in 1998 and raced in the ASA series for Herzog Motorsports, winning Rookie of the Year with a 4th place points finish. In that exact same year, he made his NASCAR Busch Series debut at Indianapolis Raceway Park, driving for ST Motorsports in their 59 car, finishing 25th. 1999 saw Jimmy score 2 wins in ASA at Memphis and Orange County Speedway, resulting in a 3rd place points finish. 99 also saw Jimmy and Herzog Motorsports make 5 Busch Series races, where they saw their best finish of 7th at Milwaukee in their series debut. 2000 saw Jimmy and Herzog attempt the entire Busch Series season, and man, what a dose of reality that was. They started out missing the season opener at Daytona and scored 6 top 10s and a 10th place points finish. However, no one remembers any of that from that season, as everyone only remembers his infamous Watkins Glen crash. 2001 saw an improvement in performance from the team and Jimmy, scoring 4 top 5s and 9 top 10s that season, and even scored their first win at the inaugural Chicagoland race, ending the season points in 8th. While the results aren't something Cup teams would take interest in, Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick saw something in him. 2001 saw Jimmy make his first Winston Cup starts for Hendrick Motorsports and is announced he will run full-time in 2002. Jimmy made 3 starts in a brand new 4th car, the number 48 Lowe's Power of Pride car, with Ken Howes as crew chief. The first 3 races were disappointing to say the least. The first start at Charlotte ended in a DNF and had a best finish at 25th at Homestead. Obviously, Ken was a temporary crew chief for 2001, but 2002 would bring on the brains of the duo, Chad Knaus. Chad Knaus' career started at the age of 14 actually, when he crew chief for his dad at Rockford Speedway. In 1991, Chad started working for Stanley Smith's team, and by 1993, Chad would get a job at Hendrick Motorsports, where he worked on the brand new number 24 team under Ray Evernham. He started working in the body shop and was eventually in charge of the body development. And Chad was also a part of the original Rainbow Warriors as a tire changer and was a pinnacle part of their mid-90s dominance. After 1997, however, Chad leaves Hendrick Motorsports to head over to Dale Earnhardt Incorporated and would become the car chief on the Pennzoil car driven by Steve Park and Darrell Waltrip when Steve was injured. In the middle of 1998, however, Chad left DEI and went to Tyler Jett Motorsports with Darrell Waltrip, and ended up leaving Tyler Jett after 1998. 1999 saw a big moment in Chad's career up to that point. Ray Evernham was leading the charge on bringing Dodge back into NASCAR, and called Chad up to help with the effort. Through 99 and 2000 was full of testing work with Ray's new team and Melling Racing. In 2000, Chad got his first taste as a Cup Series crew chief, as he was on top of the box for the young Casey Atwood for 2 races and 1 race for Stacy Compton at Homestead for Melling Racing. 2001 saw Chad work for Melling Racing as the crew chief for Stacy Compton's 92 Dodge. Success for the 92 was there in spurts. Their qualifying runs with the super speedways were excellent as they scored 2 poles both at Talladega, and they had a front row spot at the Daytona 500 and qualified 3rd in the Pepsi 400 in the summer. They also scored a pair of top 10 starting spots at Kansas and Atlanta. Outside of those runs, nothing about the 2001 season was really good. They had only 1 top 10, and that was from the Daytona 500, and had an average finish of 27.6 with 2 DNQs on top of that. After 2001, it was set in place that Chad was going to go back to Hendrick Motorsports and crew chief the 48 Lowe's car with rookie Jimmie Johnson. 2002 had only one question on everyone's mind. How will Jimmie and Chad do? Well, they won the pole for the Daytona 500 to start out the season, and then won 3 more poles after that. And in their 10th start together, they won their first race at California and swept the Dover races. Throughout the entire season, they were championship contenders. Even led the point standings after Kansas, and only led them for a week. As at Talladega the next week, a crazy incident where Mark Martin's steering wheel locked up and he ended up hitting Jimmie before the race, making Jimmie pit at the start and put him behind all day since the race went caution-free, and then blowing a motor, ruining his championship hopes, along with a pair of poor finishes at the end of the season, finishing 5th at season's end. 2003 was more or less the same. They, luckily, avoided the sophomore slump with another 3-win season, but finished 2nd in the championship after Matt Kenseth's consistent season. 2004 saw big changes to NASCAR. Nextel came in and replaced Winston as a title sponsor, and with that came a new point system, where the top 10 in the points would reset after Richmond and battle in a 10-race schedule to declare a champion. Jimmie qualified for the chase and was 2nd in points behind Jeff Gordon with 4 wins. The first 4 races in the chase were not a good start to the chase with 48 team. They had finishes of 11th, 10th, 37th, and 32nd. The first 2 finishes don't look that bad at sight, but when you look into it, Jimmie finished in the back end of the chase contenders. The next 6 races would see the 48 team dig themselves out of a hole they put themselves in. They would win the next 3 races in a row and win the second to last race at Darlington, with a worst finish of 6th in that stretch. However, at the season finale at Homestead, Jimmie Johnson finished 2nd to Greg Biffle in the race and 8 points behind Kurt Busch for the championship, resulting in another 2nd place finish in points. Man, those Roush cars and Jimmie, man. Woo! 2005 was seen as a "this is our year" season. They scored 2 wins in the regular season, and when the chase came around, they were in 4th place at the reset. In the chase, Jimmie won 2 races and was sitting 2nd in points, 52 points behind Tony Stewart. The goal at Homestead was simple: have a good race and hope Tony has a bad race. However, just before halfway in the race, Jimmie would spin out and back it into the wall, ending his race and championship hopes, finishing the season 5th in points. After 2005, tensions were starting to brew between Jimmie and Chad. Getting so close to the championship but having it slip away was just frustrating to them. It even got to a point where they wanted to split up. However, Rick Hendrick was very adamant about splitting them up as they had so much success in their time together. So Mr. H called a meeting with the two, and in Rick's office were 2 Mickey Mouse plates with chocolate chip cookies on them and glasses of milk on a table. Rick accounts the meeting as this: "I was trying to think of something to break the ice a little bit. You guys act like kids. I'm going to treat you like kids. With all you got going for you and you can't work it out, so if you're going to act like children, let's have some milk and cookies and we'll sit on the floor and have time out." See how silly this sounds? I'm going to go let y'all talk and I'm going to walk out. So they sat down, ate the cookies, drank the milk, and talked it out. What happened after that meeting created one of the greatest runs of success a driver can have.
Jimmie Johnson from California wins at Indianapolis, and the caution is out. Jimmie Johnson is the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion.
And there's the championship flag for Jimmie Johnson. It's the night as the series NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Champion Jimmie Johnson becomes a 2-time winner at the Brickyard. Jimmie Johnson makes history as a 3-time consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. 3-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champion Jimmie Johnson becomes a 3-time winner at the Brickyard 400. Folks, on a November night in 2009, Jimmie Johnson is a 4-time Cup winner.
We're looking at the 5-time champion.
You're looking at it.
Hendrick Motorsports 200 Sprint Cup victory belongs to Jimmie Johnson in the Southern 500. Checkered flag is in the air. A 4th win in the Brickyard 400 to Jimmie Johnson. For the 2nd time, the Daytona 500 goes to Jimmie Johnson, 5-time champion of Oklahoma, California. And here he comes, champion for the 6th time. It's Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson through 3 and 4. Make room. Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7.
7 championships, 5 in a row, a Daytona 500, 4 Brickyards, a Southern 500, and 3 All-Star wins. And that's all on top of their success before their dominance. Together as a duo, they have 81 wins across 3 different cars and the 7 championships across 3 different points formats. Their success easily guaranteed them their Hall of Fame inductions, and it was all saved by a classic delicious snack. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day.